A chance meeting. Emma loved the quiet rhythm of her mornings. Every day, she visited the same quaint coffee shop on the corner of Maple Street. It was her escape, her sanctuary. One rainy morning, as she sipped her latte, the door swung open, and a man rushed in, shaking water off his umbrella. He glanced around the shop, his eyes landing on the only available seat, right across from Emma. "May I?" he asked, pointing to the chair. Emma hesitated for a second but then nodded. "Of course." The man smiled, and his presence was warm, despite the chill of the rain outside. His name was Daniel, and soon their conversation flowed as naturally as the rain against the window. Days turned into weeks, and Daniel became a regular at the coffee shop. Their mornings intertwined with stories, laughter, and quiet moments of shared silence. Emma found herself looking forward to his arrival, her heart racing when he walked through the door. One day, Daniel surprised her with a small bouquet of daisies. "I know they're simple," he said, "but they reminded me of you, bright and beautiful." Emma blushed, her voice barely above a whisper. "Thank you." Their bond deepened, and on a crisp autumn evening, Daniel asked Emma to take a walk with him. Under a canopy of golden leaves, he confessed, "Emma, meeting you was the best accident of my life. I don't want to imagine mornings without you. Will you let me be by your side, always?" Tears glistened in Emma's eyes as she smiled. "Yes, Daniel. Always." And from that moment, their story became a shared one, written in coffee cups, rainy mornings, and the promise of forever. A Chance Meeting, Part 2. Emma and Daniel's mornings became a beautiful routine, filled with laughter, meaningful conversations, and quiet companionship. Life seemed perfect, until one day, Daniel didn't show up. Emma waited at the coffee shop, her latte growing cold. Hours passed, but there was no sign of him. Worry settled in her chest like a stone. She realized how much he'd become a part of her world, and the thought of losing him was unbearable. That evening, Emma received a call. It was Daniel. His voice was faint but steady. "Emma, I'm so sorry for not telling you sooner. I've been in and out of the hospital these past few months." Emma's heart sank. "Hospital? What's wrong, Daniel?" "I was diagnosed with a heart condition a year ago. The doctors say I need surgery, but it's risky." "I didn't want to burden you with it," he confessed, his voice breaking. Emma felt tears sting her eyes. "Daniel, you're not a burden. I care about you. We'll face this together." The next few weeks were a whirlwind. Emma stood by Daniel's side, supporting him through doctor visits, tests, and long nights filled with hope and fear. The coffee shop became their meeting place for strength, a reminder of where it all began. On the morning of Daniel's surgery, Emma held his hand tightly. "You've got this," she whispered, her voice steady despite the tears in her eyes. Hours felt like days as Emma waited. When the surgeon finally approached her with a warm smile, she exhaled in relief. "The surgery went well. He's going to be okay." Emma rushed to his side, her heart full of gratitude. As Daniel opened his eyes, he gave her a weak but genuine smile. "I told you daisies remind me of you," he murmured. "You're my bright spot, Emma." Tears streamed down her face as she kissed his forehead. "And you're mine, Daniel." As they left the hospital weeks later, hand in hand, they knew their love had deepened in a way that nothing could shake. Life wasn't perfect, but it was theirs, and they were ready to face every challenge, together. A Chance Meeting, Part 3. Life after Daniel's surgery felt like a second chance. The world seemed brighter, and every small moment, whether sipping coffee or walking in the park, became a celebration of their love. One sunny afternoon, Daniel surprised Emma with a picnic at the botanical gardens. As they wandered among the vibrant blooms, Daniel paused near a secluded bench beneath a blooming cherry blossom tree. "Emma," he began, his voice steady but full of emotion, "I've spent the last few months realizing how precious life is, and how much I want to spend mine with you. You stood by me when things were uncertain, and you gave me hope when I had none." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Kneeling on one knee, he opened it to reveal a delicate ring with a sparkling diamond, as radiant as her smile. "Emma, will you marry me?" Emma gasped, her hands flying to her mouth. Tears filled her eyes as she nodded. "Yes, Daniel. 1,000 times yes." Cheers erupted from nearby onlookers, who had quietly gathered to witness the moment. They clapped and congratulated the couple as Daniel slid the ring onto Emma's finger. The months leading up to the wedding were a whirlwind of joy and excitement. Their families came together, and the coffee shop where they had first met became their planning headquarters. The owners even offered to host their engagement party. On a crisp autumn day, Emma and Daniel exchanged vows in a garden surrounded by their loved ones. The ceremony was simple, but every detail reflected their journey: the daisies in Emma's bouquet, the coffee cup centerpieces, and the cherry blossom petals scattered along the aisle. As they danced under the stars that evening, Daniel whispered, "This is just the beginning, Emma. Our story isn't perfect, but it's ours, and I wouldn't trade it for anything." Emma smiled, leaning her head on his shoulder. "Neither would I, Daniel. Here's to forever."